Check, check. What's up? Can everybody hear me? Checking myself out here, making sure I'm good. Yo, how delayed is it? Bad, the 15 seconds. That's not too bad, as long as it's flowing good. What's up? All right, cool. Everybody can hear me. That's good. I'm going to turn my face off so I don't have to look at it. Sweet. So how's everybody doing? Everybody having a good time out there today? It's Wednesday, hump day. Trying to get through it. I leave for Vegas tomorrow, early a.m. I think we leave at 5 a.m. to go to the track. Fly to Vegas and have some fun. How many people out there from Vegas?
What's the broom?
Is the broom moving? Oh, you moved the broom. Oh my gosh, there's so many people commenting already. Okay. So there's obviously like a 15-second delay here, so I'll be trying to get as much as I can here. Philly love, yeah, thanks, dude. Appreciate that. So we're going to Vegas Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, doing demos at the Pennzoil 400. So that's pretty rad. I hope you guys can enjoy that. If you're in the Vegas area, make sure you make it out. I see a bunch of people from PA. Hell yeah. Flyers fan. So, all right. So let's just start busting out a few of these questions here. Obviously, the super chat option gives me a little bit better of a chance of seeing your comments because they're whizzing by pretty quick. But I see somebody asked what kind of music I listen to. So I listen to pretty much everything besides country. I like everything from punk to hip-hop. Like, I'm real heavy into a lot of underground hip-hop stuff. And then a lot of hair band, 80s stuff, and, all sorts of different types of music outside of country. Just not a huge fan of that. What's up to everybody from Portugal? Oregon right here. That's cool. It's legit. E36 drum to disc conversion. E36s came with drums? I never even knew that. I don't think that's a thing. Maybe E30s had a drum. Interesting. Let's see. How hard is it to get 318 Ti parts? Pretty easy. All of the body parts are shared. Well, all the front body parts and doors are shared with coupe and sedan. And then the hatch would be like one of the only things, and rear bumper, taillights. Everything else is pretty much the same. The dash is proprietary to the E36 Ti, but that's pretty much about it. What are the chances of seeing you at Lone Star Drift? So I agree. I would like to be able to do that. I'll try to get the TI together and go down there. I also have the RTR S197, so hopefully we can do that. And I'd like to make it down for at least one. That's my goal, so we'll see. Wes Johnson, which new car and driver will succeed most in 2018? That's a good question. I don't really know everybody I don't really know all the new cars that are being built, other than like Matt Fields and the Ferrari guys coming over, but I don't know exactly the whole lineup yet. We'll start seeing that soon. Over the next 2 weeks, people will start dropping some of their cars and what they're doing. But as far as which car is most likely to succeed, I would like to say that Matt Field should be doing pretty good in the Corvette. I think that car is going to be pretty rad and rowdy. If he can get a handle on it, I think that it'll be pretty solid. So, and I know he's planning on going testing pretty soon. Let's see. Will you drive my car at East Coast Bash? Should be caged by then. Yeah, if I'm there and I can make it, I'll definitely take you up on that offer. Sounds good. It looks like you drive in a FRS. Oh, man, you keep bumping this table. So that'd be cool. Be down for that. Jedi Mind Tricks. Definitely enjoy that group. Is an old Mustang good to learn on? like no rear independent suspension. Well, yeah, they were solid axle till like 2014. They had a couple IRS models in SN95 chassis, but no, they're good. Even my S197 is a solid axle, so it's pretty good. A lot of forward grip, really easy to decipher the side and forward grip and control. All right, let's see what else. Is it possible to do a single caliper setup in 2014 Mustang, or does it have to be dual? You can do a single. I have a 2013 in mine. I have a 2013, and I have an inline with no additional calipers, and it works just fine. You just have to use really good brake pads in there. Talk about electric steering in the Mustang and how you can compete with the stock electric steering. Pup, you are shaking this table like crazy. It's very sensitive. I got this webcam and I mounted it on top of my MacBook because the Mac webcams are horrible. And I was trying to basically make it look better for you guys, but it puts a ton of weight on the top of the screen and it shakes it around. So that's why you see it shaking sometimes. So yeah, the electric steering rack. So it's definitely different to get used to, but there are ways around making it work. The best way to do that is to try to put quite a bit of caster in the car and put some caster jacking in. And really, like on my car, oh, my dog just hopped in my lap. Really, on my S197, you just got to get used to it and self-steer the wheel quite a bit. Once you get used to it, you'll be totally good. Kairos RR. Chelsea, I sent you a DM on Instagram today from my work Instagram. Also, you owe me a fist fight for the Stancer Dancer outside of Denny's in Houston. So, yeah, for sure. I'm down to battle it out and do what we can. But as far as battling it out for the Stancer Dancer, I think there's so many people that would be super bummed out about that and that entered and would my dog's popping up in the screen here. And would be kind of bummed about it. So I think maybe the next giveaway I'll fight some people for it. So how do you splice into the lines? I assume you mean for the inline handbrake. I just go straight from the ABS module up front. Super easy that way. All right. Pros and cons of dual and single caliper setup. So obviously the cons of the single caliper are going to be that it is tough to you'll actually move your foot brake when you're on. You'll move your foot brake when you pull on the handbrake. If you have a proper inline setup, though, you won't actually have any issues with locking up the front or rear brakes or getting them stuck as long as you're not running a staging brake. The dual caliper setup is nice because obviously it's two separate individual deals. You can run a different foot brake pad and a different handbrake pad. So if you need a super sensitive handbrake pad to make it easy to pull on, you can do that without having the foot brake basically lock the rear tires up before the fronts. So it's kind of nice for that aspect of it, but honestly, like I run inline stuff on all my fun cars, and I don't have any issues with anything like that. The dual caliper stuff is really just for like cool comp cars and spending the extra time and money on it. All right. Do you miss the BMW for Formula D? So I do a little bit, but the Mustang runs every time, so it's really hard to turn that down. The Mustang is more competitive in every way, shape, and form. I'm just not quite as good in the Mustang yet, and that's just me learning how to drive it. So, you know, I keep trying to progress that and make it better and do what I can. But basically, you know, I do miss the BMW a little bit sometimes, but I miss it less and less every event because of the Mustang running every event, having tons of grip, and having an amazing team behind it all. And really, having an amazing team behind it all is most of the battle. So that's worth its value in gold. Yo, do some collabs with Adam LZ. You need more people to know about your channel, and I want you to do well. Well, thanks. I appreciate that, George. We've met before, so it's good to see you on here. Yeah, so, I mean, it's cool. I like Adam LZ. He's chill. We've driven together in Japan and some other places. But, Yeah, I don't really like need to ride any nuts of anyone else. If anybody wants to collab and have some fun, they can reach out to me. We can do it. If I'm going to be in the area of someone and they want to chill and hang out, I'm down. But I'm not really trying to like totally go out of my way or something just to get more followers or something like that. Cool. Is the E46 or a 350Z better for starting drift car? So the E46 and 350Z battle, I guess if you're gonna spend like 6 or 7 grand on a beat up 350Z, you could probably spend a little bit more to get a beat up M3 E46. I've seen them manual pretty trash for like 7 to 10 grand. So I'd probably go that direction just because you have the same power, same setup, but the E46 is going to be have a lot more grip and a lot easier to drive. The steering kits and the steering are a lot better in the BMWs to me. But the 350Z off the cuff is going to be easier to drive. It's got less grip and it just kind of floats around a little bit more. All right. Why do you not run a true rear coilover setup on the TI? And is it worth it to run it on a grassroots car? Absolutely not. It is not worth it whatsoever. There is zero gain in having a true coilover. I actually think it's stupid even on competition cars. Here's why. So with an individual shock and spring, you can adjust the preload and everything separately, just like the true coilover, but you gain a much larger adjustment in the actual spring rate. So everything's divided pretty much close to half of what it's supposed to be. So every 1K you go up is really like 0.6K. So now you have all these options to fine tune much closer. Also, the biggest bonus of running divided shock and spring is that on the track or in grid, you can change the rear spring rate in 5 seconds. Literally, it's one bolt. Swap the spring, put the bolt back in the shock. That's huge. Also, what people don't realize with true coilover is you get limited on your ride height change because of that. Because of the way the inner spring of separate shock and spring preloads, you're able to basically have a spring have a lot more stroke and a shock that has a lot more stroke to be used. So I don't know why anybody really runs true coilover. It's stupid to me. But everybody seems to have their own thing. I think it's just because they don't like it because it's different. You know, that's so. All right. Do you sell the Cage's BMW? Oh, did you sell the Cage? I assume caged. I didn't. Somebody was supposed to send me a money order for it and come pick it up, but I haven't got it yet. I've gotten 2 deposits on it, and both of the people have bailed. It's like ridiculous. I don't get it, you know. But so I do still have that. If you want to pick it up, Sergio. E36 Turbo, your thoughts on bottom mount versus top mount? So I was always bottom mount no matter what because it keeps the heat out of the engine bay. The CG, the center of gravity, is much lower. The exhaust doesn't have to go up over the coil packs or anything. So top mount to me is really kind of silly. It is easier to change a turbo on top mount. But we ended up just making, on my car, a custom turbo manifold that basically put the turbo in the front but down low and V-banded, so we could change turbos pretty much just as fast as a top mount and not have the downpipe or anything to deal with. Brandon Galvez, talk about FD getting rid of the front brake light. Are they getting rid of the front brake light? I didn't even know that. That seems interesting to me. I don't know why they would do that, but I mean, I would assume it's because they don't really care that you're left foot braking anymore, and now they have the wheels to show if you're locking up the front wheels, but I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard that yet. I think it would be kind of silly and kind of be like moving backwards. But good question, Brandon. All right, so let's see. Picked up a SLR super kit for my buddy and I. What alignment specs do you recommend to start with grassroots drifting or driving? And hope to drive with you again at Bash of the Future. Sweet. Yeah, so for the SLR stuff, I would definitely start off with something like if it was track only, like a 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch toe out in the front, somewhere around 4.5 degrees of front camber, and the caster around 6.5 degrees. If you feel like it's too snappy and the front end feels like it's kind of driving the car, you can pull some caster out of it. On my cars, I run about like 5.5 to 5 3/4 caster, and depending on what I'm doing, I'll run about 4.5 degrees of front camber. So that's where I would start. And as far as tire size, you got to keep it down to like a 23.5 inch diameter tire to be able to maximize everything, and run something like a 7.5 or 8 inch wide front wheel that's 0 offset. As you go wider in the front wheel, you'll need to go lower in offset to keep that same inside spec. What's your opinion on WiseFab angle kits? I don't care for them at all. I think they're way, way, way overpriced for some stamped sheet metal or steel, like water jetted, basically. And the geometry is whack. You can't run a sway bar. They pretty much just like take the car and ruin it. I don't know. They like sacrificed everything to have some extra angle. So I definitely don't agree with what they're doing, and I don't like how any of them drive. Too much front grip, can't drive the car, and it's for people that need to steer out to the wall instead of go fast enough to make it out to the wall. What do you think about, or what do you think about with Losi? What Losi is doing here with the series in Texas seems like a more fun style series. So yeah, I think Aaron's doing a good job in Texas with the Lone Star Drift series. I enjoy hanging out with him and going to his events. I think that because he's a driver and has always been a driver, even in Formula D and every Pro-Am series and traveling all over, and he gives a shit about everyone and his drivers. So I think that it's a good series to drive, and he's got multiple series within his series, so you can drive for a lower cost and in simpler cars. So I agree with him trying to push the building of simpler cars that are not, breaking down all the time, because driving is key. I'd rather be out there driving a stock Mustang every lap and not have to come in ever than be driving a crazy car that breaks all the time. Just more fun to keep driving. Welded diff or limited slip for a drift car? Definitely just go welded diff. There's no reason to even have a limited slip if it's strictly a drift car until you start driving Pro 1 and FD. And even half the drivers in Pro 1 run a spool, which is the same thing. Georgie, how was your experience like in Latvia with Kristaps? So I had a ton of fun out there. My flight was super, super delayed, so I missed the entire first day. So I flew in, was there for 2 days, and flew right back. But the experience was cool. I got to walk around the town, check it out, and enjoy a couple things with Kristaps and the rest of the HGK crew. So that was really neat. Got to see their shop and how they operate. So I had a pretty good time. I would definitely like to go back. Favorite drifting YouTuber? That's a tough one. It's funny because and this is going to sound terrible, but I don't really watch that much YouTube. The most amount of YouTube that I watch is me putting out videos for you guys. Outside of the whole YouTube thing, I am so slammed and so busy all the time that I have even people that help me with it, and I still can't get on and find out what's going on with everybody. So I like Caleb. He's chill. I like driving with him, and we've obviously been riding BMX together, and he was like one of my first buddies to chill with up here in this area, and then he moved. But also Taylor Ray, I've known him since 2011 or 12. So I've known him for a while. He's pretty chill. He's always got raw talent. He's pretty good driver. He doesn't get a lot of seat time, or he didn't. Now he does. But he's just like a natural ripper, so it's pretty legit. Opinions on PBM. PBM stuff's really good. I like their stuff. I know that they have had some issues and whatnot that they were working through, but overall their concepts are right there with what I like. I agree with pretty much everything they're doing, especially like the S chassis rear suspension and tow control and all that. It's been pretty crazy. So I think that they're on a step of actually having good engineered kits that are made by drifters for drifters, and not like WiseFab where it's just like some engineers from road race stuff that took their take on drifting and put it out. So pretty legit there. Let's see. Are you stoked to give me lessons in the Stancer Dancer when I win? Because I am. Hope you win. I'm definitely stoked to give whoever wins the car lessons. I'm also stoked to give whoever's on the second place, whoever gets that is going to be getting a ride along in the FD car, so that should be pretty rad. But the Stancer Dancer in general, just building that car was a lot of fun. I had never built a car just kind of for looks and fun, and it's always been just kind of beaters with cool suspension and setups on them, not anything just just cool looking. So it's nice to build that car, and I'm stoked to give it away to someone who deserves it. What BMX frame are you running? So I have. What do I have now? I've got a. I don't even know what I'm riding right now. I have two bikes, but I don't ride them very much, obviously. So I've got a Hoyer S&M bike, and I've got. It's not Caleb's frame. I think it might even be Adam LZ's frame, to be honest with you, that I'm riding. Or his old frame, at least. But yeah, just kind of whatever. I always rode roadkill bikes growing up. My dad owned the company, so he always had kind of some cool bikes laying around. I rode whatever was extra, and just getting out and riding is always fun. But the Hoyer bike I like a lot, just because it's kind of big, floaty. It's more of a dirt jumper bike, and that's what I'm into. So who else? Iron Dookie, can you do another story with Kevin Wells? Yeah, for sure. I can try to do that. If he's available, I will try to get him on the 2018 rules. I know he's always down to jump on camera and give us an idea of his thought process behind it, so I will definitely jump in there. Wes Johnson, will Wang finish the season be a factor this year? I don't know a ton about what he's got going on. But yeah, he's always a factor. He's always a ripper. I kind of missed not being able to drive with him last year. I think our driving styles are pretty similar, and I didn't get to drive with him with the Mustang, so that would have been definitely pretty fun to do. So yeah, he'll be a factor for sure as long as he can keep it, keep what he was doing and put some grip in the car, speed it up a little bit. Caleb Silver, best ECU for the price. That's a tough one, but I've been messing around a lot more with the Link stuff lately, and I think that's kind of this next step for everybody. They're getting into drifting huge, and they're pushing drifting huge, so that means there'll be tech support for drifters, and I think that's going to be a key, because tuning a drift car is so massively different than any other type of car. The load changes, the throttle changes, the limiter, the high revving, everything with tuning a drift car and having all of the data is definitely massive. I think it's tough, and I think that Link will hopefully be stepping up and making it work for everybody. What do you think of James Dean? I'm always stoked on James. He's always been a ripper. He's like one of the best drivers I've ever seen. So obviously, I think it's cool that he's competing and just enjoying everything. Having a good time out there. He won last year, and he did it by having fun and pushing as well as he can. Tanner wants me to read, "Are NA cars dead for competing?" I don't know. Who is that? Do you know that guy? No. I'm in the middle of answering a question. He's sitting there at the screen pointing. Read this. I'm answering a question while I'm reading. I can't do more than have a thing at once. So, but yeah, finished the James Dean thing. Stoked to drive with him. He's a ripper. He's always been changing things up, and I like how his style is. He just drives all in from day one and keeps it going. But NA cars dead for competing. Well, our car's NA. We don't have supercharger or a blower. I hope they're not dead. There's also quite a few other guys out there that are in NA cars, and I think quite a bit of the top 10 people in the series, I'd say 30% of them, 3 or 4 of them are on NA cars. So I don't think so, but I will say it costs a lot of money to make NA power, but the thing is with that, what comes with that is good reliability and no extra bullshit. So that's cool. Ryan Sage told me the no front brake light yesterday. Oh, well, yeah, maybe that's new. I don't know. I'll definitely take a look at that and see, and maybe I can ask Kevin Wells about that and get you guys some answers. Can you put together a video of last year's battles? I'll get with Tanner and see if you can do that. Throw you under the bus.
No.
E46 330 seat time car versus 350Z. Well, why wouldn't they both be seat time cars? Maybe that's what you're asking me. But yeah, the 330 is going to be underpowered compared to the 350Z, especially because the E46 has more grip. The E46 indefinitely probably has like 50% more grip than a 350Z. So you're going to need more power to spin pretty much the same tire. I would say the 350Z is an easy car to drive, but they're kind of boring to drive to me. They don't really do anything fantastic. They just drift. So if you just want a car to drift around in and have some fun, they're pretty good. I just don't think that they're, without a lot of suspension setup and whatnot, they just don't really have as much grip, which could be a good thing. So I always try to separate it. Like if you're gonna try to eventually compete in the car, I would tell you to go the BMW route with the E36 or 46. If you're gonna go just for fun and just thrash around, the 350Zs are really, really good cars. Let's see. Am I coming to take over Northwest? I'm not sure. I'll have to see. If they want to hit me up and invite me out there, I'm sure we can figure something out. Denofa, you need to go to Hoonigan for an episode that they do. Yeah, I mean, I'm tight with everybody that works there. It's just weird. They never really invited me to go. So maybe they'll invite me this year. Let's see. Park, trails, or street, and how about BMX video someday? Yeah, I don't really ride that much anymore. I'd love to ride way more. I am all about riding trails, though, mostly. And I'll ride on the street for fun and whatnot. I'm not really into hitting big gaps anymore and stuff. I can't really get hurt and then jump in the car and drive. But I'm down to ride dirt. I've always ridden dirt, been shredding on there for a long time. And, yeah, definitely wish I could ride more and fit more of that in. Let's see. Kairos. Are you familiar with Brisk Spark plugs? If not, would you be interested in trying some of their products out? I don't exactly. I've heard of you guys' stuff before. I mean, definitely could try it out in some of my fun cars. I know we have to run a specific plug in the FD car, but yeah, hit me up. Let me know, Kairos. And I think you actually hit me up on Instagram today, so I'll do my best to get back to that tomorrow. I've been slammed all day. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Maybe we can work something out. Thoughts on Worth House? So I drove with both of those guys quite a bit, and P-Tor is super cool. I drove with them in Latvia as well. They seem to have a good amount of funding behind them, which is good. It's necessary for running these kind of pro series. But yeah, totally cool to hang out with. Totally I could never really see him getting pissed off or crazy about anything, so always a good time with him. Let's see. It's my Z in Tanner's shop. Oh. Any plans for the 323 GTX? Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna sell it. As a bummer as that is. I can't really. I'm too wild. I want to just I'm gonna end up totaling it. Like pretty much the first time I say let's go have some fun in it. Like when I went off roading, I had to use so much self control. So I would say I'm probably going to let it go so I can put some budget into some other things. I have some really exciting news that I'll probably be sharing in about 2 months or so. It's not like anything family or crazy oriented. It's drifting related. But yeah, it should be cool. As soon as I have enough information, I should be able to share it with you guys. But it'll be good for everybody learning how to drive and be a good opportunity for everybody in that aspect. And I could use the extra funds to help out with that stuff, as well as using the funds to shoot some more YouTube stuff. Are you going back to Japan after the season? I'm actually going to take this year off going to Japan. I don't know exactly where we're going to go at the end of the season, but I'm going to take a year off and maybe try to get a car over there that I actually own. Let's see. The Z is sick. I would like to see it on the channel. The Z. Oh, your Z. Oh, now it makes sense.
I didn't know that.
The Datsun. What's your favorite beer? I'd have to go with Asahi. It's probably my favorite. Super dry beers are good. Met you and Vaughn at FD Orlando last year. Picked up an E36 325 IS on Sunday. I've been trying to figure out a solid CIA?
Cold air intake.
Cold.
No.
That'd be. I will totally answer your question
What's
if
the
you
CIA?
can just let me know what a CIA is. I feel stupid, or maybe you
I
just
don't know.
typed it wrong.
Maybe.
I'll keep an eye out. So that I can know it, or someone else on here maybe knows what a CIA is. All right, what else we got here? 200 horsepower rear tire recommendations. Cold air intake. You did mean that. Okay, cool. I'll jump back to 1 second. So 200 wheel horsepower, 225 45 17. It's pretty much the cheapest tire. You can air it up if you don't have enough grip. You can air it down if you need more grip. That is the size that I would run. That size is pretty much going to be the most efficient tire. It lasts the longest because it has good diameter, and so I would go that route. So it is cold air intake. I typed too fast. So I just get a big K&N filter and put it right on the end of the stock MAF. The elbow that's on there is pretty smooth inside, plus it has two ports on there that you need. So I always just go to the store and buy a big long filter and put it right onto the MAF. That would be my advice. Hey Chelsea, I have a Miata NA. I was wondering what I should do to get it better at the track, and you can help me with the coilover setup, or should I sell it and pick up a different car? I love them. So the Miata's a really, really good car. It's a little bit underpowered. The easiest thing is to try to add 60 or 70 horsepower to it with a supercharger or turbo or something, or even some nitrous. Anything that you can do to get a little bit more power into it is going to make it much, much easier to drive. With that short wheelbase, you have to be able to get a good amount of wheel speed and have enough grip to balance out the actual on-throttle and off-throttle grip. I would recommend picking up a used turbo kit or supercharger, popping it on there, keeping the power down to 160 or 170, and it will pretty much shred at that rate. DR versus ER BC coilovers. Totally different. One's digressive and one's standard linear. And I would definitely say that the ER is double adjustable, obviously. So I would say the ER is a better choice for drifting. Obviously, you get the compression and rebound separate, so that really helps you dial in the car. I'm not a fan of the DRs in the back of the car. So what I would recommend for a lot of people who are doing drifting, who want the digressive stuff, put the digressive in the front and keep the regular standard BR or an ER shock in the rear. Let's see. When renting golf carts, what should the first modification be? So definitely need to zip tie the throttle spring. That's what you got to do right away. So there's a spring that goes from the carburetor to the actual throttle cable, and it pulls on the throttle cable and then gives the actual throttle movement. When you zip tie those together, it will max it out and give you maximum speed. So it was funny because last year at FD, all the FD teams were bringing me their golf carts to modify in Atlanta, and it was a race on who had the fastest cart. And then none of them turned them back to stock before they returned them. So I'm sure that won't happen next year, or hopefully we even have golf carts next year. Wu-Tang. Yep, for sure. I'm down. What's your favorite Chick-fil-A sauce? I like the garlic ranch. It's good. And their new cheese dip's pretty good for the fries.
Burn your mouth.
Yeah. It's always really, really hot. What do you think about 2JZs for drifting? I think they're a fantastic motor. They make great power. They're super strong, but they're so heavy. So I definitely would... The reason I never had a 2JZ in anything competition-wise was literally just because of how much they weigh. And they don't make as much bottom end as the BMW motor. But the BMW motors blow up all the time, so, it is what it is. Did you clean out the Cummins yet? I did. It's pretty clean. Well, I can sit in it now without feeling like I'm going to get the Gonasip or Blades. Oh, yeah, I do have a video about that. I should put that up. Sorry, I'm slacking. I have quite a bit of content stuff that I didn't make the cut, and I was man, I probably should put that up. Opinion on E36 cut knuckles versus the aluminum eBay pieces that you slap on. Those aluminum eBay pieces are super dangerous. They have horrible hardware that's not tapered, and it doesn't fit right into the joint. So I would definitely not go that route. Cut knuckles are fine as long as they're done correctly and preheated and root and capping pass. I mean, that's going to be the big thing, getting a good bevel on it. Kill, bang, marry, FD drivers, go. All right, give me 3 drivers. We'll try that. Still have the F20C RX-7. It wasn't me. I didn't actually own that. The FC that was Russell Walker's, but I did sell my FD, so I no longer have that. Did you get an STD cleaning the Cummins? No, I don't think so. I wore gloves and I was like kind of cautious about it, and there wasn't really anything too crazy in there, but there were definitely some like broken crack pipes and stuff in it. It was wild. What kind of axles do you run in your E36? I just broke my second set this week, or in 2 weeks. So the stock like 328 and M3 axles are great. I never really even broke them in my FD car with 670, 700 horsepower. But I do run a simple clutch that's not crazy with a clutch delay valve, and I keep the rubber Jubo in there. So that's going to be the number one thing. But yeah, if you're not on 328 axles yet, the 325 axles are pretty weak. Have you ever driven with Jake Jones Drift Squid? I don't believe so. No, I don't think I've ever driven with him. He's weird. He built an E90. That was interesting to me. I don't really think those chassis are very good at all, but it's 1,000 horsepower RB. I saw a Lone Stars video, so pretty rowdy. All right, so we're gonna Osbo, Forsberg, Bluss. So it's kill, bang, and marry. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta zoom up or go up. Kill. I'm sorry. Kill, bang, and marry. Okay. So I'd have to. I'd kill Blues because I'd be a badass if I killed him. He's like the badass dude. So if I took him out, I'd probably look more of a badass after banging Osbo and marrying Forsberg. I mean, that's probably the best way to do it. I don't know. Forsberg and I have the same birthday, so we could have our birthday parties together. Jubo. Yeah, it is Jubo. It sounds like Guibo, but it's actually pronounced Jubo. That's straight out of Germany from BMW people. I thought it was crazy too. But it's a rubber damper between the drive shafts. E36 station wagon, Chelsea. I know. I would love to build one. We're a couple years out of them being legal. I thought about bringing one over before that and just setting it up as a track car, but I've got the TI and I've got a bunch of other projects going on. I don't need another car, and I don't really have the money to be blowing on a wagon right now. New livery this year. Ever been caught street drifting? Definitely in the past, I have been caught in my much earlier years of drifting. And new livery, yep, we do. We have a new one this year. We literally just finalized it like about 4 hours ago. And we're just getting all the partners together and getting everything as close as we can with everything, so we can do a release of that. You'll most likely see that for its first time in our testing video. Well, that ruins everything I know. I know, right? It's such a weird way to pronounce that. How do you pronounce the drive shaft piece? Juba. Yep. Sounds crazy, right? All right. Shout out to Big L. Yeah. The Big L. Not even just Big L. The Big L. Yep. I missed that spot. That's definitely one of the spots we've been chased out of before. New sponsors, can't really touch on that right now, but we did bring X-Force Exhaust on board and a couple other new people, but we're still finalizing some other things with that. So check that out. That's one of our new partners. And I really appreciate you guys supporting all the people that support to make all this happen. Let's see. I hope you win a Formula Drift championship this year. Don't we all? Yeah, I obviously hope that goes down, and I'm going to push for it the best I can. Yep, I did enjoy drifting the TI in the Cummins video. So if everybody saw that little drop in there, I'm sure you enjoyed it. I did, for sure. Speaking of Jubos, my E36, I have blown 2 in 3 events and purchased a solid one. Oh, I lost it. Oh. Where did it go? Oh, Was I doing something wrong, or were you just running stock? Yeah, I just run stock ones, and I don't have anything wrong with them. Check your center bearing or your drive shaft to make sure it's not like messed up. Also, I run the ZF box in all my cars, not the Getrag, so I get a bigger Jubo in there. Chase Rogers, check out my S197 drift car at Mac and Chase on Instagram. Stoked. That's pretty cool. It's pretty legit. We'll check that out. Looks like it's a white one in your preview. Oh, here you go. I got it right here. Bam. It's from Victoria. Or no, that's his girl. It's Victoria Wilcox. Never mind. Southern Indiana. I was about to say, like, damn, you got a Mustang in Victoria? That's crazy. Sick. Yeah, I have one of those too. I definitely have to try to get together and thrash it a little bit. Two-way diffs and drifting. Go. So if you run two-way, just put a weld in your car. It's really unnecessary. It's an unnecessary cost. If your car came with a two-way, great. But really, it's the same. It drives almost with zero characteristics difference than a welded, and it's actually like louder on the street most of the time, unless you buy a really expensive one. I have been a BMW tech for 12 years and have never heard it pronounced like that. I was a BMW enthusiast for 10 years, and I had never heard it pronounced like that. And in Germany, that's how they pronounce it, and it's from Germany, so I would assume that that's how they say it. And if you go online a bunch of different places, it gives you the pronunciation of Jubo. What should I do to make this NAS4 FC a reliable drifter? Big radiator, big fan, and make sure you run good oil in it. That's going to be the biggest thing. The rest of it, the motor is super reliable if you can keep the oil temps down and the water temps down. So even if you can, bigger oil cooler would be sick. Thoughts on Taguchi this year? I'm pretty stoked to have him on the series. I'm thoroughly stoked in that. I can't wait to see him drive over here and adapt to everything and overcome what a few of the Japanese drivers have had to do with a different driving style here. But they're all such good drivers that he'll have no problem fitting right in and ripping. Chelsea, how can I fix the rear toe in E46? Synchro Design Works makes R-tabs that will help that a ton. Brandon Galvez, do a SoCal Drift School. I was thinking about it. There's not really a good place to do it. I was going to do it at Grange, but we just haven't been able to finalize everything just as of yet. So I do want to do that, but it's really just finding someone to connect with out there that already runs events and to make it happen. So if you guys know anybody, then definitely plug that and try to get it to happen. Car. Love the video so far. I would love to see a video of you talking about the gray areas, banned mods, cheating that went on in the sport since you've been in FD. That is a really good idea, and I'm going to absolutely do that. So hopefully within the next week or so I can get a video up of that. Obviously, I don't know of a ton of them, but I can tell you some of the cool things that I did and some of the other teams have done in the past and try to help you out with that. That's cool. I like that. It's a good idea. If I rent Grange out, can you come and drive? Yeah, so basically anytime anybody wants to do instruction and have me come out and teach you guys, I basically just charge $1,500 a day. You can get up to 20 people, and I'll do instruction for pretty much everybody there, and basically just fly in, you guys pick me up, and I will go do what you need to. I got to get covered for my time, so I definitely need some budget there, but I try to keep it as affordable as possible. I mean, if you get 10 dudes together, it's still only $150 a piece. Fly down, thrash with you guys, and have a good time. Let's make Chick-fil-A a livery happen on the TI. That'd be cool. I'm totally down for that. I love Chick-fil-A, for sure. Dream build. I assume that's probably Dream Drift build. I don't know. I always wanted to build a 599 drift car. I think that would be really, really good. Or like a 996 Porsche. I think that would be pretty cool because it would be affordable still at that point. 996s are getting pretty cheap. You can put an LS3 in it or something, even a K series I've seen in them. So it can definitely be done in that way. $1,500 for 10 dudes. Damn. Yeah, it's a sick deal, right? Can't even find that on Craigslist probably. Would you consider Canada for lesson day? Yep, I would. Just travel and expenses, obviously, on top of that. So let me know. Reach out to me on Instagram if you guys want to do anything with that. We don't really need to chat anymore about the instruction stuff, but you guys can reach out to me, whatever you need to, on there. Eric Booth, I did the class in San Antonio in December. Well worth the money. I really appreciate that. I try to do my best to teach you guys what's up and point you guys in the right direction. Those classes that I do all over the U.S. are really to kind of just find your mistakes, help you fix them, and take what you guys have been working on and improve them to become better drivers faster. So all those classes really just accelerate how quickly you're picking it up and using your own talents. So it's pretty cool to see. Do you agree with all the buzz around 350Zs, the best starter drift car, due to the fact they are newer and more reliable? Yes, for those reasons, they are newer and more reliable. That is a great drift car. And I think that if you just are going out and trying to have fun, they're fantastic cars. They're super simple. And, they don't need a whole lot of modifications in order to be good. I'm going to put this to commercial real quick and run to the bathroom. As soon as I find this, wherever that's at. Word. I am back. Jump over here real quick. Oh, I lost the chat. Oh no. Blowing it. Chat. Okay, there it is. Cool, we're good. Sorry about that. Alright, so, good way to kill a live stream is to go bye-bye. Well, sorry, I had to run to the bathroom real quick. But, I know you're here, Cam. Alright. Why do we never see you hoon your comp car? Well, I'm not sure what you mean. My Mustang? I think I drive the wheels off that thing. But maybe the E46. If you're talking about the E46, it's because there's no motor or drivetrain in it. We're going to be fixing that soon by putting the EcoBoost in there with the Mustang 6-speed. So it should be pretty rowdy. Try to shoot up to about 550 horsepower. And the car should weigh like 2,500 pounds with me in it, so it should be pretty solid. Jesus. He used a poop knife. What is a poop knife?
I don't know.
What does that even mean? Does pineapple belong on pizza? Absolutely not. That's horrible. Are you out of your mind? Pizza is such a great thing. Why would you put pineapple on it? Ugh. Do you think you could take Tony Angelo in a fight? Probably not. It'd be close. But that dude gets down.
You lose.
Yeah, it'd be close. It depends on who swings first. That would be the key. If I swing first, I might have a chance. If he swings first, I probably don't have a chance. I get too easily. You and Vaughn need to go party at Hoonigan. Well, I think we'll try to do that this year at Long Beach. I don't know. Hoonigan needs to hit me up. So, bug them. Post on their stuff, everybody. Tell them to get me out there. I'm not going to go be like, yo, I want to be on your show. What do you think about an FD RX-78? I assume you just meant 7. Yeah, they're really, really good. I love those chassis. They have quite a bit of forward grip. The traction arms are super long. I think that that's a fantastic car to drive, especially now that everyone has the recipe for making more power in them. So I think that that's definitely a good move. Do you plan on keeping the E46 FD legal? Yeah, for sure. There's no reason not to. Just why not? Especially if maybe somebody wanted to rent it for Pro 2 or to rent it to drive an FD event. I would definitely keep it legal regardless. You and Caleb in a foot race. Who wins? Pat Gooden. He wins. He's not even in the race, but he's the fastest speed walker I've ever seen in my life. Warning, extremely pertinent question. Do you like toes? Oh no, do you suck toes? That's so weird. I'm not into sucking toes. That's not my thing.
Do it for the stream.
Dude. Yeah, if I was into it, my girlfriend would be really easy because she like spreads her toes together apart like this. She's over here barefoot right now. Come here, show your feet.
It's not that kind of stream.
It's not that kind of stream. Yeah, they're gonna ban me if you do that. What was competing in D1 USA like? I read about the shit show of Drift Avengers. Glad Forrest got out of it when he did. I mean, it is for what you take it for what it is, and that's a lot of the internet issues today. Anyway, I got to drive with a bunch of D1 drivers that I would have never got to drive with. I had a ton of fun out there. I learned so much about driving so quickly by seeing those guys who had it already figured out 10 years before I did. So I really enjoyed driving D1 USA. I got my ass handed to me most of the time, but other than that, it was a super big learning experience. I mean, if you think about it, after I left D1 USA, I was pretty much winning like almost every event I drove because it did. It set me up and learn the skills to drive. How do you think Ryan Littrell will do in Pro 2 this year, considering he got a lot of seat time last year and now a proper setup car? I don't know much about the Z. I know that he had his S14 set up really, really well. I would imagine it's going to take some time for him to get used to those. And, yeah. Oh, my God. Creeping dudes. Let's see the toes. Like 6 times. Toes. Dude. So funny. Steel Finks S85 M3. Yeah, it's a cool car. I went over there and saw it. I didn't get to drive it, but it's pretty rowdy. Thoughts on the E30? The TI is pretty much the E30 anyway. Same suspension, a little bit longer wheelbase. I definitely would think it's pretty solid. I think it's cool looking. I just don't really need to build one because they're like more expensive than E36 M3s at this point to find a decent one. Dookie Kookie. What? That's a good name. What do you do for a living aside from drifting? Also, if you don't mind me answering, does drifting actually pay the bills at the level you're at? So, outside of drifting, nowadays, I am pretty much hustling in every way, shape, and form. I've been buying and selling cars, selling merch and whatnot, and basically just doing instruction and classes all over and trying to do my best to make a living off of instructional drifting and doing what I love to do. I don't really make a ton of money. I put most of my money back into cars, but I kind of recycle the same budget. Like I spend $1,000 to go do this, and then hopefully I get the $1,000 back with other stuff. So I kind of take chances and do what I can, but yeah, it's fun. I don't really do much outside of drifting for money, just or cars in general. I do stuff outside of drifting for money, but just car stuff mostly. What was your worst accident you've been in your drifting career? Probably last year I got smashed right in the side in an A-pillar area by Castro. Hit me super hard, smashed my head on the cage, and knocked myself out. It was pretty hard. That was probably the worst accident physically I've been in. But worst accident emotionally was probably FD 2012 when I crashed my E36. It was really a sad day to lose that car because it was done. Poop knives and toes. What is a poop knife?
Don't worry about it, bro.
Did you look it up?
No, somebody told us though.
What?
You should poop fast.
Yeah. My girlfriend covered her toes up with some new shoes, so you guys can't see them. Sorry. Those are cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, those are cool. What kind of springs and rates and alignment do you guys tend to run on the Mustang? We change spring rate quite a bit. It's kind of proprietary, though, because the motion ratios and everything in the car. So the spring rates that I would tell you would mean nothing for most people. But fairly stiff in the front, and then fairly soft in the rear, and then using sway bars to control some of the roll. So that's pretty much the gist of it all there. I'm putting a built 360 Magnum in my W210. That sounds cool. I'd like to see that. I got some love for Mercedes stuff. All right. So, if I pay you for classes, would you come to Costa Rica? I mean, that sounds like a good trade. We can make that happen. Hit me up. We'll try to figure it out. I'm down to go kind of anywhere where as long as it's not sketchy. So, sweet. Wait, Chelsea, you don't have a family poop knife? Now I gotta know what a poop knife is. What's a poop knife?
Dude, it just makes you poop fast, I think. I don't know. Shove it in there, maybe.
That's weird.
That's what somebody said.
That's weird.
You
S54 versus 2JZ.
Yes,
Personally, I like S54 more. It's lighter. It can make bigger power band. Not more power, but a bigger power band in general. And I don't really care for making more than like 700 horsepower in most of my cars. So a 700 horsepower S54 would be a better motor to me over the 2J. If I had to make 1,000 horsepower, I'd be starting moving to 2J range. Can you talk about tire size for drifting? I use a 235 4018 with a stock LS3 240. Should I grip up? Well, there's hundreds of ways to grip up without adding or changing any tire sizes. The 235 40 should be fine with the stock LS3. I mean, we have in FD, I was running on the E46 a tire that measured like 255 35 18. So not much bigger than that with 700 horsepower, and we could bog the motor. We had at some tracks we had to turn it up to 800 just to be able to spin the tires. So really, it's more about the tire itself that you're running and how the car is set up. I'm trying to be the sugar daddy of drifting with the W210. Solid. I'm into that. I'm putting a 2JZ into my E30 wagon. I mean, that's cool. I think it'll be rad. It'll be fun. But you're just taking your car's going to have 60-40 weight distribution. It's going to be bad. But that's fine for a fun car. I don't see any beef with it. Just giving you the idea of why I don't run the 2J stuff. I'm in the process of swapping an S54 into an S13. That seems cool. I'm interested in that. I hope you keep it NA because it'll be a really, really fun and reliable car NA that way, and just getting all the weight out of it. What do you expect out of Nick Gers and their 2018 FD Mopar Charger program? Didn't even know this. I never even seen that. Where's that information shared? Pop a link in here and I'll pull it up and I'll take a look at it. Maybe not in this video, but I'll touch on it in some other stuff. Hide your toes, boy. Good price for E36 M3 sedan. Good price, $4,000 or $5,000, and that's not going to be a car that you want to go pick girls up on a date with, but it'll be a fun car. I've seen them as low as $3,000 for ones that are beat up and have some body damage, and I would expect if you want a clean one, you're going to spend $6,500 plus. And a low mileage clean one in a rare color or M3 4-speed or 4-door 5-speed, you'd be paying anywhere up to $15,000. V8 or turbo? Why not both? I like turbo cars, so I would say why not both. But the NA stuff is super reliable. So for FD competition stuff, I think you got to go with whatever's super reliable and can keep the motor together for an entire season while monitoring the cost of running it. And then for turbo, for fun cars, definitely turbos all the way.
Electric more reliable.
Where's that at? M54 B30 swap and an E36. That's cool. I mean, I would just put S52 in it though. It makes tons of bottom end, a little bit more top end. The aftermarket stuff is more likely. I like the M54 B30 because it's aluminum and you can save some weight with it, but I definitely would stick with just S52, especially because you can buy the cars with them already in there and save a ton of time. I thought D1 USA was sweet. It's a shame it got cut short. I meant Forrest getting out of his team. Oh, got it. Yeah. I don't know too much about the Drift Avengers stuff, but I would say that Forrest has always made good decisions in his career. So outside of leaving in the middle of the season, but he came back anyway and did all that. So I definitely agree with most of the stuff he's doing. All right, we're coming up on 7 o'clock. I'll give it another 5 minutes, so just pop your final questions in here, and I'll grab whatever ones I can. kind of don't forget about the super chat deal because I can see that right away, and the money obviously goes straight to the channel in order to shoot some more content and supports it. Our S52s easily swapped into E46s. Yeah, they're super easy. They drop right in. They actually sit lower and further back than the regular motor, the M54. So I definitely would go that route. You can even get away with pretty much running a stock M3 drive shaft. You don't even have to modify it, and put a E46 M3 rear subframe in it. So it's definitely pretty easy to swap. Who would you refer for a tuner on the rotary? Kyle Mohan, probably. His guys are pretty solid. Those guys know what they're doing. Thoughts on E46 M3? I think it'd be really good. I'm glad they're coming down in price. They're still a little bit out of my price range to buy as a fun car, but I think that's definitely going to be a good car for people to pick up, do some small maintenance on, and rip. Let's see. Extreme low or regular BC coilers for E46. I'm all about the regular ones. You get more stroke out of the shock, and the springs are a little bit longer. They're going to ride better and be better for pretty much everything. If you want to go extremely low, then you're going to sacrifice everything I just said. How important is owning a house? LOL. House versus hood rich. I don't know. You just do what you want. Play the market how you feel. If you think it's cheaper, like some areas, it's better to rent a house because you can get rent cheap. But some places rent's really expensive, so you can get a mortgage for cheaper. Whatever you guys think you want to do. Let's see. Thanks for the rotary advice. No problem. Say how to get rowdy stickers. Yeah, I think we should do that and get another shirt and stickers up on the channel. I have my girlfriend in Chelsea working on that stuff, so hopefully within the next 2 or 3 weeks we can have some stuff up on the channel and have you guys be able to scoop that stuff up. 2.3 EcoBoost in E36 sedan. Awesome. Totally down for that. I think it'll be fun. I'm pretty much doing the same thing, but in an E46. So when we start doing that, you'll be able to learn, and you can maybe do it side by side with when I'm doing mine. Can you get us the hookup discount on EcoBoost crate motors? Nope, I cannot, and I pretty much was paying almost full price for mine to make it happen. So, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. And just a few more questions. Have you worked with Njuka Racing? Yeah, I love those guys. They're super solid. I've never seen them steer anything wrong. It's usually everybody else that's involved with it, but yeah, definitely stoked on all of those guys. I enjoyed working with them previously on some smaller stuff, and maybe in the future we can figure something out. Elijah Wallace. What was your engine turbo setup in your E36 FD car? So it was or E36 FD car. So they were all pretty much the same. They all were M52s with S52 cranks, high compression, cams, fully built crazy heads with a GTX 3582 or a GTW 38. One of the two was always on there. 30 pounds of boost, 100 shot of nitrous to spool the turbo, and it made like about 800 foot-pounds of torque and just shy of 800 horsepower. So pretty solid. Always made good power when it was running. It was one of my favorite motors to drive ever because it made a huge power band, spooled super fast, and sounded rad. FD Mustang engine specs. For that, it's 456 cubic inch, 455 cubic inch. Roush Yates RY45 NASCAR motor. It's the one they run in the current NASCARs, but bored 100 cubic inches bigger than the NASCAR motor. And it's just under 1,000 horsepower at the crank, and like just about 750 or so at the wheels. 2.3 EcoBoost standalone computer. The Ford stuff out of the box, they sell a control pack that's completely adjustable. It also comes with a pedal assembly, a wire harness. Pretty much can be swapped into anything. It'll run like on the garage floor with that swap kit. So definitely pretty neat, and that's what I'm stoked on. 10.5 degrees camber, front and rear is best for drifting. Prove me wrong. Please leave my chat right now. I don't need to see that negativity in my life. Nobody should ever run 10.5 degrees of camber on anything. I would rather gouge my eyes out than see that. What else? Something more positive than that. All right, car. Will you be doing any more driver classes like the one you did in Texas about how to promote yourself as a driver and the ins and outs? I would like to do more this year. I have plans to do more this year. I just don't actually have anything concrete yet. But keep an eye out online, and I'll be sharing each of the classes that I do, and hopefully you can make it out. Texas is probably one of the more likely places I'll do it because I have quite a few friends down there that make it a little bit easier to get down there and make it happen. So I will do my best to make it out there. Does the FC need much more angle than stock? What are some simple things to add more? So the FC, you can just get tie rod spacers or inner tie rods from a company. There's quite a few that make them. That'll help. Also, a couple other companies make bolt-on knuckle setups. I would definitely look into getting a little bit more angle than stock, but they're totally driftable stock. I've drifted quite a few of them in stock form. They just get really, really good when you add like about 15 degrees more angle than stock. They get only like about 30 or 35 degrees stock, so getting a little bit more in there really, really helps that. All right, last question. Let's see. Best drift car for under 4K. That's a pretty good one. So I would definitely say a E36 M3 that's a little bit beat up would be a good start. Another good one would be a beat up 350Z. Those two are probably your best bet as far as what you can get for at around 4K. Obviously, they're tough to get at that rate, but you can, if you're down to travel and pick one up, you can definitely see, search for everything under 5,000, and when you get there, kind of lowball them and see what you can do to get it down to about $4,000, and you'll have a good car to have some fun with. So, all right, guys, I enjoyed chatting with you guys. Appreciate it, and let's keep giving me love on the videos, and we'll see what else we can get going for you guys. Later.